up, guys? How y'all doing today? Well, baby, if you are Sean Diddy Combs, you had just had your emergency hearing. Y'all, that hearing had so many twists and turns, but there are 7 key details and takeaways that everybody in the media missed. We're going to go over that. We're also going to go over what is next, the lies, the facts, the fiction. What did these lawyers got away with, what they didn't? Was this a win for Diddy? And also, what's next? On top of that, we're going to have to discuss about Diddy goons, right? Now, we can't confirm whether they were sent by Diddy, but they are Diddy goons that are going around to showing up at the actual homes of influencers, big TikTokers, basically saying, yo, however much are you being paid to talk about Diddy in a negative way? Spoiler alert, no, because everybody's doing it for free. But then they hit people on the dummy joint. Well, if you were getting paid, we would like to pay you off too. And we can pay you even more. They have been caught on video doing this. We're gonna play the video for you guys to make up your mind. But there's one thing I do want to know: who took the payoff? I'm being serious. Who took the payoff? Because y'all can't tell me that somebody that was down on their luck didn't decide to do the thing and actually take the payoff. Now, when will Diddy's sleeper cells be activated? I don't know. But let me just tell y'all something. Diddy didn't get to the top of this depraved, whatever it is, by playing fair, by playing nice, and not by doing every low down thing he could to get away with anything he could. All right. Anyway, let's get inside Diddy's emergency hearing. What's the first key takeaway that everybody missed? Who the F is victim number 2? Victim number 2, Diddy is paying all their bills. Victim number 2 said Cassie is reminding them, and her lawsuit is reminding them of all their trauma. Victim number 2 has been referred to over and over and over again. We need to find out who victim number 2 is. It could be a woman. Most likely, it could be a man. It's obviously one of Diddy's ex-girlfriends. However, this is no disrespect to Gina Han, right? But at the end of the day, we did not know what hell Gina Han was going through until she popped up on Tasha K. This could be Joy Chavez. This could be Daphne. This could be Jade. This could even be Carisha, even though by the language of what victim number 2 was quoted as saying, it don't sound like Carisha. But then again, the only Carisha we know is the one that be playing Carisha roulette. So it is what it is, right? All right. That's the first one. We'll delve back into it, but I want to go over the key takeaways really quick, and then we're going to deep dive. Number 2, key top takeaway. The federal government had to admit, and Diddy's team did not object, at the fact that even though they tried to say that all that mess that Diddy had was work product, what slipped out in between them was super, super interesting. Key takeaway number 2. Diddy has, right, one of his sons, it sounds like, and someone that is not affiliated with the legal counsel, because remember his lawyer said, oh, we're running a parallel investigation. That's the cover they ran for the reason they are contacting all the witnesses. Okay, now this could be legal, who cares? But the person that the sons are in contact, one of the sons are in contact with, is the and we assume the sons because they said business associate. We'll get into that later. They are working with people that are not affiliated with legal counsel at all to find out every single thing that they know, to find out every single thing that they can find out about key people that Diddy identified. Okay, so they are the sons, the same ones, and we assume it's the son. We'll get into the details later, that approach Ray J. The same people that work with Diddy to silence people, according to the victims. They are working with people not affiliated with their legal counsel that are literally running up and digging into people, trying to find out everything they know on that person. And we don't know who these people are, whether they are bloggers or influencers. Several bloggers and influencers have said that they felt like they were intimidated by something weird that was going on with goons that seemed to want them to change their story to be pro Diddy. Now, I'm sure that's not related because I'm sure whoever Diddy is, this is one of the reasons why the federal prosecutor said he is still engaging in witness harassing. Yes, lawyers can run investigations. Yes, you can do this. But someone that is not associated, that the lawyers don't know about, that Diddy and his little goon squad are keeping track of, digging deep and trying to find out dirt, it is what it is. That is the second key takeaway that a lot of people in the media missed. The third key takeaway, okay? And this is something that is just actually mixed with some speculation, but Diddy's notes, the federal government said they're not attorney-client privilege. A lot of people are like, oh my God, Diddy got to win. The federal prosecutors couldn't use that. Okay, yeah, but at the beginning, very beginning of this, the federal prosecutors actually said, listen, and we're going to read the transcript. They actually said, listen, we don't really actually need these legal notes. Okay? We don't need the legal notes. We have phone calls, Your Honor. We have videos. We have emails. We have text messages. These notes were something that were actually passed along to us verified. If it's that much of a problem, okay? We don't need to use the notes in the bail hearing. We have other issues. We have more than enough information outside of these stupid notes. But just for the record, these notes are not really attorney-client privilege. Diddy's people were arguing they were because they want a mistrial. Spoiler alert, they are not getting a mistrial. And the level of arrogance Diddy's team displayed, baby, we'll talk about that later. In any case, Diddy didn't have a win because earlier in the court, the federal prosecutors were like, we don't really need it. I mean, we had it. We don't really need it. Diddy's team called this mess because they want to get a mistrial, but we don't even need this. And the federal government was like, all right, well, since you don't need it, guess what? We're not even going to let it be admitted. Why? Because the judge doesn't even want to give Diddy the grounds to go for a mistrial. That also seemed why the judge was a little bit very not pro Diddy, because he wasn't, but was very lenient in and accommodating. Like, counselor, what do you have to say? Because Diddy's team can't come back and be like, you didn't let us speak, you railroaded us, you shut us down, we want a mistrial. So that is why the judge was asking a lot of questions. Okay, the fourth takeaway that we will delve into, I'm just going over the things really quick, right? The fourth takeaway, I've been hearing rumors that Diddy's team is playing dirty. That is not to imply that they're not playing fair, because, baby, if it's your lawyer, you want them to fight tooth and nail. Now, will it be successful? It's a 1% conviction rate, but you want them to fight tooth and nail. And because Diddy's team are doing these stunt queen antics early, they're making the government really be on their game. I personally think this is too early for them to start these stunt queen antics, because now the government knows what time you're on, and the government is going to literally come out swinging. They know you on some dumb time. They know you're trying to taint the jury. They know you're trying to run a public media campaign, and quiet as kept. They know a lot more. So now you always want your enemy to think that you are more dumb than you actually are. You never want somebody to overestimate you. It's always better to be underestimated. Diddy would have been better pulling this out later on, but he chose that. Why is this important? Because people say that's part of the game that Diddy might be playing, is the fact that they are actually trying to set the government up. Because at the end of the day, Diddy's trying to say these are legal notes. Diddy was running a covert criminal operation off of a notepad that literally was stamped things to do list. He literally said things to do, harass people. Diddy is a cartoon villain. We cannot take this person seriously while he is in jail. The fact that this man has the whereabouts to put people under his spell is ridiculous. Okay, but The fourth key takeaway, people are saying that Diddy's team is trying to set up the federal government or create an atmosphere. Sorry, what is this? Lent, or create an atmosphere where the federal government takes the bait and then Diddy can march in court and be like, my constitutional rights have been voided. Again, if this is true and Diddy did this, I think it's actually very, it's bothering me. If Diddy's team actually did this, I think it is actually very, very, very stupid to pull this out this early in the game because now they know what time you are on. Okay. We'll talk about that in detail. Okay. The fifth takeaway that we know, the government said, you need to chill. I know you're trying to find out what we're doing. And baby, we ain't leaving notepads in the prison facility talking about a to-do list. They said we are running a covert investigation, and it's really none of Diddy's defense team, who, what, where, how we're running it. Okay. Now, why was that very important? Because they said it is an active covert investigation. And they said that they are running it with Diddy and his associates. At this point, his associates definitely are his children and everybody else. On top of that, Diddy is in jail. What does that mean? Well, if you look at the history of the federal government, and this is public knowledge, I'm sure Diddy's team is aware of this. Okay. I'm sure they are. They playing dirty. I'm sure they looking at every dirty trick the government ever did. And again, when I say dirty, I mean like, sneaky trick. Who else is wearing a wire? Who else is on Team Diddy and they're reporting back? Covert implies that there are people that are cooperating. There are people wearing wires. Remember that video where he was patting Justin Bieber down for wires? There are people reporting back. There are people wearing recording devices, okay? Diddy's sons, the baby oil bandits, they should be very, very, very worried because they are the first ones. They keep a lot of people around. They keep a lot of girls around. They keep this, they keep that. They should be very, very worried who they're around because the government did say there was a covert. Now, here's the part that a lot of people missed. What does covert also mean? Prison. What does that mean about prison? Diddy, I would assume his team leaked the fact that Diddy is the belle of the ball in prison and he got groupies running to remake his bed and this and that. And they fighting over the opportunity to get next to him because they feel blessed that a celebrity of his order is around them. Now, for Diddy's huge ego, that might make sense. But if you know what I know, Diddy, who you've been talking to, what you've been talking to, how you've been bragging, and what have you been telling people? Why is that important? Because this makes more sense than people fighting to make Diddy's beds. And I don't care what people say, oh, we had a high profile. Stop it. But you know who I would fight to make Diddy's bed? If I knew I could get him to confess to something and I can get 10 years cut off my sentence. If I knew I could get him to speak into the mic. Sir, if you could, what's that? Huh? What'd you say about Cassie? Go on. No, I'm just testing. No. I'm just testing. Go on, speak. What? Yeah, I hate her too. Stupid B. It was a complicated, toxic love story. Yep. What'd you say? Yeah. And F Dawn too. And all these women, they wanted it. Go on, please keep speaking, sir. That would be me. Well, I'm Dustin Diddy's jail cell. What? Literally, while he's writing his to-do list. What you doing, bub? What you writing? Oh, no. I was just trying to see if you wanted any ramen noodles. You know, Mikey making some ramen noodles in the toilet bowl. You want some? I heard they cooked in the toilet bowl. Shut up. Don't drag me. That was actually really insensitive. I didn't mean to make a joke, mockery out of anybody's pain that might be unfairly incarcerated, right? So let me just, whatever, right? But I will be in Diddy's face trying to get him to say anything because it can get me out of jail early. And what's more, even if they don't want to let anybody out of jail early, right? They could send in actual federal agents masquerading as jail people to take him down. Now, why do I say that? Because Diddy's lawyers anticipated this, but that doesn't mean that Diddy's ego didn't actually feed into it. Diddy used to be in solitary confinement. And he was like, oh my God, I'm suicide. Now he's no longer in solitary confinement. Now everybody is tripping over this man. R. Kelly didn't even have that treatment. And R. Kelly got way more bangers, which we will not be listening to, but way more bangers than Diddy. And R. Kelly was made way more popular than Diddy. R. Kelly was putting on prison concerts and he didn't even have prison groupies. Why would Diddy's ego think he has groupies this quick? Before y'all think, oh, T said you giving away some secret. No, I'm not. Because the federal government admitted it in court already at this last bail hearing. But a lot of people blew over that. It's covert. Let's not forget Tekashi 6ix9ine, a noted, suspected noted snitch, right? I say snitch because he was in with the BS and he told on everybody, okay? So anyway, he magically had a parole violation and got taken into Diddy's holding facility too. You know, Tekashi, with that bust down, and you know Diddy loves Tekashi is the best of both worlds. Got a nice lace bust down. He nice and thin. Listen, I'm just saying, do he look like Cassie? I'm just saying. The point of the matter is Diddy has been talking. He's been letting his ego get stroked. He thinks all these people just want to be around him because he's a celebrity. And all these people look at Diddy as, sorry, I got something in my eye. All these people look at Diddy as their ticket to freedom, early release, if they are inmates, or they might just be undercover agents going in there. Because again, Homeland Security said we can run our covert investigation and operations any GD way you please. Mind your business, okay? Really quick before we get to the rest, Candace, thank you so much for being a member. Thank you for becoming a member. Holda 8 said, hit the like button, y'all. Tisa is on fire right now. Thank you so much, Holda. And we also got Sarah. Sarah, thank you so much for the super chat. Okay, so what's the 7th takeaway in this Diddy saga? The 7th takeaway in this Diddy saga is, again, you guys might have guessed this one. We're going to go in detail on all this. I just want to get through this really quick. And I'll summarize this in a thing. The 7th thing is that Diddy is running his legal team. I believe it's obvious. The 7th takeaway, and this was my takeaway, is that Diddy is being fleeced, in my opinion, by his lawyers. What does that mean? They are bringing up nonsensical arguments in front of the judge. Mark Aguilera, as much as I like to clown him, is a seasoned lawyer, but I think it's pretty obvious that he cannot control his client. It's pretty obvious that Diddy is literally watching the autobiography of Malcolm X talking about, you know what? I'm going to call me Freak Off Shabazz. I'm going to make my own defense. He's reading, he's studying analytics. He's thinking he can actually beat this by running a PR campaign. But what does that also mean? I think it's very, very obvious that Diddy is driving his legal team. And I don't believe that Diddy actually knows that he is using up all his get out of jail free cards and all his goodwill toward the court or the U.S. Attorney's Office. Why is that important? Because I believe Diddy's lawyers are bleeding him. I do. I believe that they are going in front of the judge and doing this false bravado. Mark Aguilera laughed in the U.S. prosecutor's face and said, we're not working with them. It might give them greater insight, right? I believe they are making insane motions. Mark Aguilera said he wanted everything thrown out. And he said he wanted the whole prosecution team removed because of 2 pieces of paper and an evidence thing, because it clearly says legal on it. But all this is charging dollars. This is also, the judge said, the U.S. attorneys are like, we don't even need the evidence. Keep it, right? Mark Aguilera was like, well, this is a constitutional amendment. If you show us something, we believe there are 5th Amendment violations. Leading to me believe that whatever papers were found, they tried to make it a setup. But even if that wasn't the case, the fact that the judge said, all right, we're going to trial, And you're also going to have to talk about the Abercrombie case. We will talk about that in a second. So I guess this is the eighth takeaway that a lot of people missed. Um, when he said, "Oh, you have to do that," okay, we're not going to use those papers. The judge said something very interesting. He said, "Well, you know what? We are going to have a separate hearing on the privilege issue. The privilege issue was this constitutional rights violated? Those trials are very long. They are very tedious. They run for a while. But more importantly, if the filter division, and that's who checks evidence to make sure no constitutional rights are violated, okayed that paper to be released to the Homeland Security, then that means there's a pretty good chance that Diddy's constitutional rights weren't disrespected. Now, Mark Agnifilo knows that he used to work at the Southern District of New York. His wife actually not only she built the SMEX crimes unit in the Southern District of New York and helped staff the place. Okay. The reason that they would agree to that is they're already literally making their fortune off of Diddy. They have now gotten a new thing that is going to be billable hours for everyone. It's going to be more time for everyone. And Diddy is going to see his bill increase by 1.5, 150%, 200%, 300%. Pretty soon his bills are going to be 1,000. They are fine to do these fool's errands because I believe that it's all about those billable hours. And Diddy doesn't even realize that you are not using your get out of jail free cards correctly. On top of that, and this is the last thing I will say, if any of these lawyers that are working for Diddy lose, it's not really going to hurt their careers the way Diddy thinks it might. Because the feds have a 99% conviction rate, let's be real, or something like that, right? So if you go up against the feds and you lose, that doesn't ruin. Diddy somehow thinks they're all in this together. And if they mess up, nobody else is going to use them. That's not the way it works. So I just don't think that they are invested as much as Diddy thinks they are. Because at the end of the day, no matter how much money Diddy pays them, no matter how much money he throws at them, the odds that you will beat this case are so low. It's not impossible, but it is very, very closely. Dory Angel said, Tista, save us from Diddy mess. Happy to be here going through this crazy saga. Yo, Diddy's mess is insane. Okay, it is insane. So I want to actually just play something for you guys really quick before we or should we break down the actual what was actually said in the courtroom and how we're going to handle that. What do you guys want to get into first? There is an eighth point I'll get into when the time is right, but what do you guys actually want to get in first? Actually, let's go into the live tweeting, okay? Because shout out to Inner City Press. They actually did the live tweeting. We're going to go into this and break it down a little bit more. And then we're going to go into the video of the Diddy goons, or the goons that are Team Diddy, right? What they're into, okay? So let's get into this. There's a lot of Easter eggs people left, and I'm going to get into my eighth surprise point. But I wanted to give you guys the first 7 up front. Okay, let's get into this. Sean Combs comes in from the holding cell in MDC jail tan. He's wearing tan clothes. He's walking just fine. He hugs his lawyer and sits down. People that were eyewitness actually said that Diddy was keying, smiling, trying to act like he didn't have a care in the world. Again, Diddy is doing this weird tactic when it's not televised. Nobody can tell that you're acting nonchalant, but you're trying to make it seem like you have it all under control. I think Diddy was enthused that the judge was asking a lot of questions, but if he actually knew about the legal process, that's not good for the judge to ask that many questions, because the judge just wants to make sure that you can't come back in a mistrial and say, hey, you didn't say this. So he's leaving no stone unturned. Oh, also the eighth point, really quick. The eighth point I wanted to get to. The judge said at the end of it, you need to tell us about the Abercrombie case and how that's different from Diddy. And the lawyer said, oh, Your Honor, that is very, very different. If you guys don't know, the Abercrombie and Fitch people. They have a case that sounds a lot like Diddy's, but they were let out on a $10 million bail. And they want to know, sorry, Diddy's team wants to know, well, how come they can't get out on a $50 million bail? The government said it's very different. I actually did a deep dive into that case, what's known about it, and the government is right. I'll tell you guys that at the end of this tweet. I'm sorry, the live tweeting, but we need to actually get through this. Okay. Also, Tosha, what's up, Tosha? Tosha Smith said, thank you for all that you do. And most of all, thanks for making me laugh. Your impressions. Oh, thank you, Tosha. I appreciate it. Sarah said, Tisa, thank you for believing victims, leading with your morals that are for the greater good of the people. Oh, thank y'all. Instead of playing devil's advocate, the devil don't need no advocate, but victims do. No law degree is needed for that. I completely agree. No law degree is needed for anything, even though Diddy needs to get a law for dummies because he's running this like he doesn't realize the severity of the trouble he's in. And it's a nice try. I would do it too. I just don't think that he realizes how it's only him and how his lawyers are letting him take the lead. Maybe they just can't control him, actually. I thought they didn't care. It could just be they can't control him. Anyway, right? But if they can't control him, they should recuse themselves, but they won't because Diddy is literally paying their fortunes. Anyway, listen. So he said, still waiting for the judge. Diddy is chatting with his lawyer, Anthony Rico, seated to his left in a bow tie. Diddy hired a black attorney. He realized to have Mark Agnifilo stand up and make, Your Honor, my black man can't get a break, to get Mark to actually stand up in court and try to pull the race card, right? And I call this a race card because Diddy, shut up. This ain't a black issue. This is a you issue. It was going to come off as weird, inauthentic, and just, So Diddy now has Mr. Rico. He is an esteemed lawyer. He deals with death penalty cases. He is a great arguer, great at closing arguments. Mark Agnifilo is like, I don't even know what he's doing, right? Maybe some brilliance, but he got a black lawyer because when he tries to say, I believe when he goes to say the feds have been harassing him and a black man, they want it to come from a black man. Let me say this. Diddy only cared about the black community once the police got involved. All this philanthropy, all this good work, all this stuff, Diddy, to me, didn't do squat. If he did a pittance, it was only to boost himself. Let's see how many people he actually helped. The billionaire, how many people? You can look at his staff. How many black people besides Stevie did Diddy, and I'm not even convinced Diddy's paying Stevie. How many black people did Diddy have on the staff? Now, listen, don't get my comment. That turn this into color. Shut up. I'm making a point. For Diddy to be so pro-black, the only black people he repped was his family. Everybody else, KK, his right-hand man, the people he traveled with, blah, 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 blah. They were all white, okay? The only time he really bought black people in the field and elevated them is when he was bringing them in as his artists. And we all know that when he did that, he literally lied, stole, and cheated from them. But the people he trusted with his life, the people he rolled with, So I find it odd that now he's trying to be this big champion from the community. And don't get me wrong, I'm not saying you got to everybody got to be all black, everything. I just know that Diddy, aside from appearing to be involved in the neighborhood, he didn't do anything. That's my opinion. Anyway, let's get into this, right? All rise. Sean Combs' lawyer, Mark Agnifilo. Imagine Benny Hill music playing. We expect Alexandra Shapiro to arrive at any moment. I'm sorry, this is Mark Agnifilo. We expect Alexandra Shapiro to arrive at any moment from the Second Circuit. I have Sean Love Combs to me to the left. The fact that Diddy really is making his lawyer call him Sean Love Combs. Diddy really thinks that people are stupid, or maybe not. That's why he's showing up at influencers' house trying to bribe them. Judge, fine. What are you seeking, Mark Agnifilo? We want to know how his notes with the lawyer came into their possession. Mark Agnifilo continued. He has an expectation of privacy in his legal notes, Your Honor, the judge. So this occurred during a borough prison sweep in the jail, but you're saying it was a pretext? They're trying to say that the Fed set him up. All right. Anyway, Mark Agnifilio. Yes. 19 pages of notes were given from the tank team to them. Mark Agnifilio continued. Yana, we know enough to make out a constitutional violation, but we needed to know more detail about the failures. We haven't been able to test their explanation. We need the surveillance video of the search. First of all, the arrogance. Who the F are you to check notes? We haven't been able to test their explanation. This is the U.S. Attorney's Office. And if the U.S. Attorney's Office directly had grabbed those notes, this might fly, but there were other offices that were buffered. You don't need to test the validity. Now you're trying to say that anything that happens to Diddy at any time, you want to put the federal government on trial. Again, I get what they're doing. They are trying to jury tape. They want whoever's watching this that doesn't understand the way a filter team works, what it is, how the borough of prison operates, how the U.S. Attorney's Office operates. They want to be able to create confusion. So if you're watching this, you're just like, yo, what's going on? So they had his notes? Really? They did this and that? I do think that the U.S. Attorney's Office, because this is basically televised, and I know that they don't see a camera there, but they need to start playing for the tweeters, playing for the audience, playing for the imaginary camera while they're talking to the judge, because Mark Agnifilio is taking these times to plant seeds. You know what I'm saying? Y'all know what I'm saying. All right, let's get back into this, okay? Sorry, Diddy kicked me out. I'm back. I'm back, everybody. I am back. Woo, that was scary. Okay, I'm back. Yo, you can tell I ain't take the payout. Internet still acting up. Maybe Diddy's team, maybe Dana Tran is up there hacking, kicking me out. Y'all know I ain't take the payoff. Anyway, y'all know if I will take a payoff, you want to see me on the air Diddy. Y'all gonna be like, Tisa, you sold out. And I'm gonna be like, shut up, brokies, on my private plane. Roll the windows up. Shut up. I know there's no windows that can roll up. Shut up, brokies. Francois, continue. Y'all gonna know when I sell out. Y'all ain't gonna be like, y'all be sitting there, be not y'all, but the people in the back be like, Tisa, I think Diddy's paying you. I don't know what it is to y'all that gives off broke vibes. I mean, it could be the camera quality, it could be the mic quality, it could be whatever. But you guys, I'm not saying I would never sell my soul, but baby, if I sold the soul, this whole world would be named New Tisa Dome. Like, be serious, be for real, for real. Anyway, y'all know I'll just be like, roll the windows up. These brokies keep messing up my day. Let's go to the store. Literally. Anyway, y'all, let's go. Let's go, right? Anyway, sorry guys. Let me get back to work. Okay, so Diddy's lawyer Agnifilio continued. Yana, we need communications of investigator one. We need to know the role of the U.S. Attorney's Office on what should be photographs. The search was for drugs and guns and cell phones, but these are Mr. Combs' legal files. Okay, first of all, and let me just say this, because I know a little bit about borough prisons and the sweeps. I know that because I did a simple Google search. Mark Agnifilio knows that the U.S. Attorney needs to step their game up and start playing to the cameras, because Mark is. The borough contraband can be drugs, guns, all this stuff, okay? That is immediately confiscated because it is a danger either to the inmate or to the general population at large in prison. However, contraband can also be notes. Contrabands can be plans, okay? The fact that they didn't confiscate the notebook doesn't mean anything. It means that the Bureau of Prisons saw something that caused them concern. They didn't know if they should confiscate it. They took pictures of it and then they left. Why is Diddy mad? Because when the raid happened, they literally told Diddy and everybody else, yo, get out. And he had to go outside the cell. So Diddy didn't know what they were doing in the cell. Diddy didn't know what they saw and what they didn't see. That's why Diddy's so mad that they took pictures, because had they confiscated the books, then they would have known for a long while what the Bureau of Prisons knew, what they had, and possibly what could have been given to the filter team and then passed on to the Department of Justice. This is why they want everything back. This is why they want to see the tapes, because there is something, right? Oh God, because there is something that Diddy either had or did that he doesn't know if the feds have access to it. At this point, you should assume the feds saw every single thing you were doing, Diddy. That's why they're so pressed. And that's why they want this whole trial thrown out, because the government actually might know what they were going to say. But at the end of the day, like, Diddy is a maniac. I can even guess what he's going to say. That's why they want those notes. Diddy was out of the cell. And when they did that, they took pictures, and Diddy doesn't know exactly how much they saw, and he can't really prove it. But anyway, let's continue, right? Okay, he said the search was for drug. Also, what does the U.S. Attorney's Office have to do with the Bureau of Prisons? You cannot honestly believe that the U.S. Attorney's Office ordered a raid on the jail by the Bureau of Prisons so they could find information about Diddy. I mean, fine, it is possible. But Mark Agnifilio, you got to prove it. You can't come into federal court being like, no, Your Honor, how come? That's no fair. No, you need more than we think we feel. They're not going to let you rip apart the U.S. Attorney's Office and go to war with the government on can we look around because there might be something there? This is equivalent of someone being like, yo, let me look through your cell phone. For what? You might have been texting something. I'm not giving you my cell phone to look for. Militia Creon said, is there any information on Mark Agnifilio's wife? There's a lot of information on his wife. Not saying it's anything bad. She did do a foray into TikToks trying to defend Diddy. But all jokes aside, that's not a joke. That's being serious. His wife and Mark Agnifilio are heavily connected in the Southern District of New York. That is why Diddy is paying Mark Agnifilio. Also, when he got denied the second time, the streets are saying that Diddy threw a temper tantrum, wanted Mark Agnifilio out, started phasing Mark out. However, when other lawyers that he was saying realized they couldn't control him, they bowed out, and Mark again took center stage, because Mark seems like he is willing to play this game with Diddy and let Diddy, even though at the end of the day, it'd be better for him to just find a lawyer that kind of like pushes back and be like, yeah, I know this worked at your little like Def Jam, like wherever he was, but that's not going to work in legal courts. It's just not going to work. Okay. So, right. Keeping back into this. The judge wasn't falling for it either. The judge said, keep it on the logistics, because he even know this is an overreach. But you're talking to Mark Agnifilio is playing to the camera. Back to Mark Agnifilio. We're not sure if Yana. We're not sure it was investigators. If they was the one doing the search, who interviewed Mr. Combs? Who went to the area where his legal papers were? Yana, once we know that, we could have a Fifth Amendment transgression. We could. You don't know. Maybe, huh? Sorta. Again, playing to the cameras. Yana, we may ask for the dismissal of the indictment. The arrogance. You want the whole thing? Dismissal on the indictment? Yana, we may ask for dismissal of the indictment, or for the recusal of the prosecution team. Again, Diddy wrote this. Diddy probably so mad. Did y'all see the video? Because y'all let them flop. The video about the fact that Gene Dill said he witnessed right before he went to court and got acquitted from the JLo trial that Diddy sacrificed a bird in the park. I don't know. Is Diddy sacrificing rats in his prison cell, pulling legs off of roaches, making blood rituals with rats in order to get this done? Talking about or the recusal, Yana, or the recusal of the prosecution team. You think a whole prosecution team, 7 or 8 U.S. attorneys are stepping down over 2 pieces of paper that the feds actually said we don't even need? I don't understand why he's making this big deal, but sure, Your Honor, he doesn't have to use it. Judge Sabermania. Also, this actually goes, I just want to make this point before I forget, okay? Why is it so important about Mark Agnifilio playing for the cameras, and also the way the federal prosecutors really need to step it up and start explaining more in court? Because you're not explaining for the judge, you're explaining for the jury. But why is that so important? Well, think about it. If Diddy is paying off social media people, bloggers, TikTokers, Instagram people, other famous celebrities that might have an interest in, protecting Diddy, not paying them off, but we lie together, we die together. Well, this is what you need to do in order to give the people that you pay off to give a counter narrative. They just can't come up and be like, you know what? I was wrong. You know what? I was wrong about Diddy, and I'm going to go on an all-inclusive paid vacation to Bali because I was mad wrong about Diddy. And guys, here's why I'm wrong. Because a couple of will be like, boo, you suck. What happened? You getting paid off? Y'all be saying I'd be getting paid off just because I said Albie Shore is a deadbeat dad. And I don't believe that deadbeat dads have any type of moral character or integrity. My daddy was not a deadbeat dad, as you can tell. Right? He's still married to my mommy. Not that marriage actually makes any difference. I'm not doing that. I'm just saying that people always, let me stop talking about that. Let me move back on, right? But when you look at people that are paid off, the correct way, the PR way, the skilled way you pay people off is they agree to push a counter narrative, but they can't do it out the blue. So you do things like saying nonsensical stuff in live tweets, nonsensical stuff in front of the judge, doing nonsensical motions that are going to be rejected, but you're not doing it for the court. You're doing it so for the people that take the payoff, they have something to sink their teeth in. And they can be like, well, hold on, guys. I know what Diddy did was bad. I know. But look at the way the government's treating him. Look at the way the government's treating him. Even though he did bad things, but if the government's doing this, how much evidence does the government really have? I will never take a payoff for this, right? But at the end of the day, if I wanted to, I could take what Mark Agnifilio did and really spin it into a narrative that I believe actually would take hold. And that is the danger and why we have to stay woke. But let's keep going, right? But that's the information about Mark Agnifilio's wife. Melissa, thank you for the super chat. Melissa also said, she's a former prosecutor for Southern District in New York, currently works with Ben Masalis in the Midas Touch. The lawyer, Jonathan Oley, talked about in his interrogation. Exactly. The rabbit hole goes deep. I actually talked about that in a different video. I'll repost it. Y'all know I love a repost, but y'all get the point. Also, Melissa, coming through, said, thank you. My first super chat. Sorry, Melissa, don't ever apologize. You are literally bringing up a bunch of things that I think a lot of people, hold on, y'all. A bunch of things that I think a lot of people should be aware of. Melissa, don't ever be sorry for bringing up information that everybody needs to know. Okay, hold on really quick. Let me just get this. Okay, so okay, there we go. Okay, I'm back. So, right, to make a long story longer, again, if I was paid off, these little things he gave me, I could work out the middle. Again, you're not trying to convince, you're just trying to sow seeds of doubt so that at the end of the day, people are like, wait a second, what's going on? That's how you taint the jury. The feds need to realize that they are talking to an audience, okay? Listen. So anyway, Yana, we may ask for the dismissal of the indictment or for recusal of the prosecution team, the judge. They used 2 portions in responding on bail. And you want me to not consider those? Yana, they need to hand over the notes. We don't know what the tank team has. We want to know. And we want the material back while this is pending. Yana, we can't waive his attorney-client privilege. We have a direct or aggressive. Not sure. We have to be direct or aggressive, Your Honor. Not sure what the right word is. That was for the judge. I know the judge was sitting there looking at them like, again, you don't know what the tank team is. The feds later on in this transcript said, Your Honor, the tank team has already contacted them. Like, why is this even a thing? Again, U.S. attorneys, you're dealing with stunt queen attorneys. You're dealing with stunt queen attorneys. Act accordingly. Okay. So the judge, government, oh my God, what happened here? Why are they taking photos of Diddy's notebooks? The U.S. Attorney's Office. Your Honor, this is Mary Christine Slavic. Your Honor, none of the prosecutors had contact with them. The judge, counselor, but investigators they were monitoring Diddy's communications in and out? In and out? Is this a Fourth Amendment violation? Again, the judge seems to be going in on the prosecutors, but this is what a good judge does to make sure that things are not thrown out or getting mistrial. You have to probe. You have to make it so that they can't come back later and say, oh, you let them off. You didn't do this. You didn't do that. The U.S. Attorney's Office. Your Honor, the Bureau of Prisons investigator works for the Bureau of Prisons. He's focused on safety, and if the defendant is in compliance with Bureau of Prison rules, which he was not, it is true that the Bureau of Prisons, but it is true that the Bureau of Prisons gave us this info. Your Honor, none of the prosecution team were aware that the investigator one was going to be part of this suite. Now, the funny thing is, the investigator one, who is that? Is this an undercover person, or do they actually work? You know what I'm saying? Were they a person that worked for the Bureau of Prisons, acting like they were a prisoner? I'm just saying it's a covert operation. The judge, counselor, when did you become aware that the photos have been taken of Mr. Combs' notes? U.S. attorneys, Your Honor, after the sweep. Judge, but before the grand jury subpoena? So there's nothing else? Your Honor, this is the prosecution. Your Honor, Mr. Agnifilio says the defense team does not know what the team has. But we made a production to him last night of everything, not just the 19 pages that were passed to the case team. Again, Mark Agnifilio is playing for the cameras, and the U.S. Attorney's Office is thinking that they actually are trying to, like, come on, wake up. The U.S. Attorney continued. Your Honor, these materials were obtained as part of the government's covert, ongoing grand jury investigation. The judge. Counselor, is it standard procedure to photograph notebooks rather than take them so it could be known they were taken? The U.S. attorneys. Your Honor, I don't know. Your Honor, we're not required to notify the defense of our ongoing investigation of criminal contact. We receive these materials in an appropriate channel. Whenever we get new information, if there's a reason to believe there's privilege, it goes to a filter team. The judge. Counselor, if they were verbatim notes of his meetings with his lawyers, how would you know without asking the defense? Your Honor, our filter team does a serious job. This investigation was covert. We had a lot of information before charges were brought. Oh. Let's get this thing. Oh, the U.S. attorney continued. Your Honor, I understand there is a dialogue between the defense and the filter team. I'm not part of that. So now they're actually pointing out, but again, they don't understand this is for the people that need a narrative so they can start running, like earning their money from the Diddy payoffs. This is the Diddy PPI plan, PPP plan. This is the Diddy payoff plan, right? The Diddy PP plan. Anyway, they said, again, And again, this is real slick, but I don't think they realize how much people are listening to them. And why is this let keep getting in my head? I don't think they realize how much people are actually listening to them. In the fact that Mark Agnifilo is talking nonsense. Yana, we need the notes. They took the notes, Yana. I'm sure we look. And he's saying all this shit. And the U.S. Attorney's Office is looking at him like, you idiot. What are you talking about? You already have this. Again, he's not an idiot. He's speaking to the public. Anyway, the judge. Okay, stop, counselor. I don't understand the dividing line between the covert investigation and the discovery in this case, given that the defendant has been charged. Again, the judge is not taking Diddy's side. He has to ask these questions, so there's no mistrial. Our grand jury investigation is ongoing into conduct that has not currently been charged. We have multiple ways to get information that are not obvious to the defendant. We are not obliged to inform them. They have no authority for that. Counselor, I want to be cautious since some of this is sealed. But is any of this privileged? Your Honor, the notebook was labeled things to do, not attorney-client. They suggest they were meant to be in a folder marked legal. But self-labeling is not enough. Now, I will say with the federal rules of evidence, what makes attorney-client privilege, just because you say something is attorney-client privilege does not make it attorney-private privilege. And I think that's their point that they're trying to get off at the fact that just because you label something legal does not make it legal. But Diddy's team knows this too. Again, I waffle think, is it a setup? But I don't think it was a setup. I think Diddy is just was caught slipping, being arrogant and stupid, because if that's the case, and everybody's like, why would Diddy be dumb enough to leave that notebook? Why would Diddy be dumb enough to be using people's minutes that he's not supposed to use to make three-way calls? Why was he dumb enough to give an email address that he said it was his son, but it was actually an email address that delivered text messages via email? Do you know what I'm saying? To people outside the prison. Why would he be so dumb to be making texts and calls off of unauthorized communication devices in jail? Diddy said a lot of dumb stuff, and he did it since day one. And the feds just stood there watching him dig a hole. And now Diddy thinks that he can get into this. All right. Listen. Okay, so that's when they said they suggest they were meant to be in a folder marked legal, but self-labeling is not enough, and that's true. These include action items for non-lawyers. That's not privilege. Privileged information is between you, lawyers, or any party to the lawyers. That means assistants, whatever. They're saying these people were not lawyers at all and had no contact with the lawyers. These action items are not for non-lawyers. That's not privilege. There's information about family members, birthdays, also not privileged. We point to the Lumiere decision by Judge Rakoff. We're happy to engage with the defense. Judge. Counselor, how about agreeing that I should not consider these two excerpts in your opposition with bail motion? Now, again, this is early on in the bail hearing. A lot of people thought this was a win for Diddy. It was not, in fact, a win for Diddy because they agreed to it. Because listen to the next thing. So the judge said, how about you just agree that we can't use these two excerpts? I think that's right. For the bail argument scheduled for Friday. The judge, counsel, what about putting them in a vault? There are inspirational messages. Diddy is trying to say that his inspirational messages that he looks at every day and writes himself are attorney-client privilege. Okay, Diddy. The U.S. attorneys. These are related to our ongoing investigation. There's no reason to put the notes in a vault. As a matter of procedure, the defendant would have to make a motion. These notes are not attorney-client privileged. Then there's work product, which is broader. It's meant to protect the attorney's mental process, but these are not that. It's about the administrative question. Following up with a paralegal is not protected. The judge, counselor, what if an individual had counsel paid by another? A payment, not privilege. And if it's about paying off a witness, That's not what we're investigating. These notes refer to individual two, a non-lawyer third party. It's on his to-do list, Your Honor. Judge, counselor, a defense lawyer can investigate potential witnesses. It would be malpractice not to. If these are about the defense team's preparation for witnesses, isn't it a closer call if it falls into work product? Their attorney. The person tasked is a non-lawyer, Your Honor. On October 18th, the defendant told a family member, I assume that's his kids, because who else could it be unless it's Janice, Miss My Blood Pressure, Janice Combs, trying to make sure her platinum lace front collection is secure. Your Honor, on October 18th, the defendant told a family member to work with a non-lawyer to find out everything about victim two. Now, here's the thing. Victim two, Diddy is also, I believe, paying their rent, if I'm not mistaken. So that means while he's paying them off, he's also treating his family. He's also treating his family, telling his family member, I assume it's one of the baby oil bandits, I assume, also telling them that they need to find out anything they can about victim two, partly because, my opinion, they're probably going to start a slander campaign. That's what I'm saying. Sorry. You don't make deals with the devil. And this non-lawyer individual, individual two, is not identified as part of the defense team. Counselor, what about turning over the surveillance video? Your Honor, we oppose. There's no authority for that. Counselor, I noticed Mr. Agnifilio, they want to work with you. No, he said, oh, this is the big win for the prosecution, right? We're opposed. There's no authority for that. The judge says, yeah, I noticed that. Then he turns to Mark. Mr. Agnifilio, they want to work with you to try to resolve this. Mark Agnifilio busts out laughing in the judge's face. Ta ha ha ha. Right? Judge, you may not agree, but why not discuss? Yana, we don't want to give them insight. We don't want to give them insight. All the legal pads say legal. What the government is saying was searched is just not accurate. The judge, wait, you're saying the photos taken were from pads marked legal? Can you show me? Mark Agnifilio walks up and hands the judge a pad. When we visit him in the jail, we have lists. Everything in these pads are things we discuss. Trial strategy, who we should speak to undermine, witness credibility. We discussed everything with Mr. Combs. This is a sweeping racketeering case. We're studying this man's life for our bail application, his charity work. This is not a single day, a single event case. We spend time on every nook and cranny of this man's life. I have a case of Fano 441F3D, a very important case. Mr. Combs comes out and reads us his to-do list. That is privilege, Your Honor. The 19 pages include things we've said to him, the name of potential witnesses, a retired doctor. Now they have that. This is in the heartland of attorney-client. Mr. Combs comes out and reads us his to-do list. This is privileged. Counselor, I'm looking at the case you cited. Ms. Salvik, are you familiar with it? I'm not, Your Honor. Miss Garagos has something to say. I guess the lawyer that turned things around. She's in court now. This is Tinny Garagos. Never mind. They said, yeah, Honor, they say there's a covert grand jury investigation, but there's the current indictment. Well, we're here talking about 11 pages of notes. All right. Sorry, that was the attorney. Yana, we're here talking about 11 pages of notes, not a stack. None of those notes are legal. Counselor, the notes themselves are not legal, but the page was in a legal pad that was marked legal. The U.S. attorney, it's not clear where the defendant wrote that on. But counselor, we have a bail hearing on Friday at which I will not consider these materials. In terms of running down the privilege issues, We can take weeks. Any issue with that time frame? Mark Agnifilio. No, Yana. Judge says, okay, I'll issue a schedule. Now that's big money for Mark Agnifilio. All right. Then Diddy's lawyer says, if they're intending to seek a superseding indictment, wait, if they're intending, are they intending to seek a superseding indictment with these notes? The judge says, counselor, are you? The U.S. Attorney's Office, just to be clear, the filter team can keep the notes. Judge, if they're not involved in the grand jury investigation or this case, Mark Agnifilio says they should preserve the video. The U.S. Attorney's Office said, fine, we'll do that. The judge says, what about the Jeffries Abercrombie case in Eastern District of New York? The government released on $10 million. The government released them on $10 million bail. Be prepared to address the difference. U.S. Attorney's Office. Your Honor, it's very different. The judge said, okay, counselors, see you Friday. Okay, so Friday, I will be locked in. Sorry, I was traveling, but Friday, I will be locked in and we will go through the live tweets in real time to have some fun. Now, let's talk about this Eastern District of New York case and what the difference is, because a lot of people like to cite this on why Diddy should go free. And I'm sure whoever took the influencer deal is going to cite that also. Okay, right? Oh my God. Do y'all know that there's a new, this just came in as breaking really quick, that there's a new Sean Diddy Combs wild party footage shows debauchery at birthday bash he threw for Meek Mills at a $7.5 million Las Vegas mansion, blood-stained sheets, lubricant, condoms, coca, and razors. Woo! I guess Diddy is trying to get out of, get back at Meek Mills. Oh my God. This is horrible. Oh my God. Okay, we'll talk about that in a second. Let's get into the Abercrombie case, okay? Because it's actually really, really important. Their crimes sound alike, right? They used their power and influence, made young models get involved in their own version of freak-offs. They were accused of sex trafficking. It's a lot of parallels. They were even allowed to get a $10 million bail so they could actually be at home and have self-confinement. So what's the difference between what Diddy's asking for and what these people got? Well, I have a little hint for you. It is not the skin color, as Diddy would like us to believe. The difference is the fact that all these things were put up for the Abercrombie and the self-confinement to make sure that there would not be a threat of witness tampering or witness intimidation, meaning they had not witness tampered, they had not obscured justice, they hadn't done anything. But the government said, just in case you do, we want to make sure that we can watch yourself, but you haven't done anything wrong. Diddy crossed the line. Diddy actually did tamper. Diddy actually did do all these weird things with the witnesses. Diddy crossed the line. And because he crossed the line, that's why he got arrested even before the superseding indictment. Do you honestly think that the government didn't want him out on the street with his phone tap, following him around? It would have made their investigation so much easier. The fact that they took him in showed that Diddy truly posed a huge, huge thing. A huge, huge thing, issue. I'm just saying. So when Diddy's team wants to cite that, what those people got was the before, and Diddy, you are the after. If these people tamper and do witness, they will be thrown in jail just like you. I get what people saying about, oh my God, Diddy should be set free, this and that. But I'll be honest with you. I think they're all idiots. And I do not believe that Diddy should actually in any way, shape, or form be set free. But really quick, I want to read you guys this before I go. This is actually really, really important, okay? This is exclusive. Inside Diddy's wild birthday party for Meek Mills, where guests ate sushi off of a naked girl's body. I remember those times. at parties where they would actually have sushi on somebody's skin. And I always thought that it was super ritualistic and cannibalistic. I'll just say it. Everybody's like, oh my God, that's so cool. And I'm like, this is very cannibal. You're eating flesh. And anybody that is a sushi connoisseur knows that when you're eating sashimi, some fish, it actually does look like flesh and it's covered over a woman's body and she has to be nude and you're eating it. It's cannibalistic. It's ritualistic. It's just weird. So there's a video that just actually surfaced. Let me see if I can actually play this video. Hold on. Even though I will say I'm going to read you all the details before you guys go. But let's see. I think this is Diddy's payback for Meek Mills. It looks like Diddy got Meek Mills back for saying no Diddy. But the joke's on Diddy because if Meek Mills is saying no Diddy, Meek Mills 100%, 100%, and I mean 100%, he's cooperating with those feds. He is cooperating with these feds 100%. So, Diddy, you can release all this stuff all you want, but at the end of the day, Diddy, you're the one everybody wants to see in jail. That's the one thing about being one of the most talented rappers out there, but also Raps Village idiot. When you actually get in trouble for stuff, nobody blames you. Nobody blames you. Let's see if we can get this mess. Actually, I'm going to play the video. If I see one more ad, hold on. Okay. Okay. So, where's it at? Okay, so it's just stills for the video. Let's get into this, right? They said Diddy spared no expense to throw his friend rapper Meek Mills a blowout 27th birthday party. What was left behind? Coca, half-empty bottle of liquor, used condoms, and blood-stained bedding was evidence of just how much debauched this even was. Yo, I think this is Diddy yanking Meek Mill's chain, letting him know he better be quiet. Or maybe all those rumors that we heard about Diddy and Meek Mills are going to find out to be true. They said the bedrooms the following day were disgusting. This is property manager Jason Height. There were broken bottles of alcohol, used condoms, blood on the bedding, powder, razor blades by the hundreds, lubricant on the dressers and marble floors. I found panties, bras. Okay. Diddy gonna be like, Meek Mill's gonna be like, I was with the women. I found panties, bras, and even 2 iPhones in the bushes behind the bowling alley. Exotic dancers and masks, curvaceous women in tiny bras in the main event, a naked woman served up as a sushi platter appear in the video. A day-long party held on May 3rd, 2014, cost Diddy, now 55, a whopping $25,000 in rent alone for the Parisian palace. Height shared a video footage of the party with the Daily Mail. It shows partygoers arriving in droves, notable faces including Vine star turned comedian King Bach, rapper French Montana, Little Dirk, and other artists claiming to be part of Mill's record label, Dream Chaser Records. Oh my God, hold on. They're showing pictures too. Look at the screen, y'all. Look at the screen. So this is Sean Diddy Combs rented the Parisian Palace for 24 hours on May 3rd, 2014. This is Diddy releasing this information about Meek Mills. Look at this. French Montana, Meek Mills, and Diddy are all smiles as Diddy gives speech to the partygoers to kick off Meek Mill's 27th birthday. Sushi was served on a naked woman for guests to eat off of. She had only a piece of sheer vinyl covering the front of her body. There's pictures on the screen. Look if you're watching. Oh my God. They said the mansion was crowded with celebrities shuffling through the mass of people accompanied by their entourages of bodyguards and trophy women. Lingerie-clad dancers performed provocatively on set-up stages, and other curvaceous, scantily dressed women posed around various rappers for photos. In one scene, a girl was laid out on a table naked with only a tiny piece of clear vinyl covering the front of her body for hygiene purposes, as rows of sushis were framed on and around her while workers offered bottles of sauce. That's sick. and dehumanizing. The partygoers smiled into the camera, posing with their friends. At one point, Meek Mill's French Montana and Diddy stood on an elevated platform to give a speech, laughing with each other as one partygoer shouted to see if there was liquor up there. Monster headphones were also on display, showing rows of the Meek Mill inspired 24K over the air DJ headphones, which currently cost $200. In April 2014, um, the property manager, he's also the mansion's longtime caretaker, says was contacted by Diddy's personal assistant, that was KK, saying he wanted to rent the venue. Oh, maybe it wasn't. Saying he wanted to rent the venue for a party for Meek Mills. It was held 3 days after Meek Mill's birthday, but he specifically wanted it to be on the night of the first fight between Floyd Mayweather and Marcos Medina. Now, remember, they also said that Diddy timed his freak offs to coincide with major award shows, to coincide with major fights and things that celebrities would be to actually feed the beast. Oh, what's going on? They said the disgraced rap mogul relayed through his assistant other specific requirements for the property manager. So this is a bedroom in the Parisian palace, which the property manager described as a period home with bedroom doors made from solid oak that had solid brass Montessori type locks with crystal and door handles and skeleton key. This looks like Bram Stoker's Dracula. Does it not? Does it not? I don't even know what's going on, but it looks like something demonic is going on. This looks like a scene from Interview with the Vampire or Vlad the Impaler. Anyway, they said, oh, here we go. The video showed dancers in mask and skimpy outfits performing a sensual dance for the guests. Rapper Lil Durk was filmed posing with multiple courageous women scantily dressed in tiny mini dresses and bras. Oh, God. They're all beautiful, but whose daughters are these? Look at this. Vine star turned comedian King Bach was also in attendance at Meek Mill's birthday party. They requested that all interior bedroom door locks were to be ordered new and left unopened for their arrival for security purposes, as they would need to supervise installation. They changed the locks out of the bedroom doors? Why would you do that? And why would the bedroom doors at a birthday party need new locks that only your security had the key to? And both keys were given to Diddy directly and nobody else. Oh my God. So they wanted locks on the outside of the bedroom door and on the inside of the bedroom. You know, so you could lock people in while you're in the bedroom, or you could lock people in the bedroom while you're in the hall. And both those keys, the new locks had to be installed, and all the keys had to be given to Diddy for security purposes. Y'all. He claimed Diddy's team requested double-sided locks on bedroom doors to be left unlocked for guests' arrival and 2 sets to be given to Diddy. He said, I was given a rough estimate of 850 guests for the mansion party, and we agreed to a fee of $25K for 24 hours. Some 900 guests actually showed up, and most partook in the evening's drug-fueled festivities, including Diddy, who the property manager described as being wasted. To oversee the evening's operations and ensure Diddy and his team would have him on site should problems arise, he agreed to remain on site throughout the rental. I'm told I have he said, I told him I have a detached guest house in the rear of the property and that unless they summon me, I'll stay there. I explained to them that the mansion is a period home, which meant all bedroom doors were solid wood with solid brass Montessori type locks and crystal doors, handles, and skeleton keys. According to the property manager, the mansion cost $7.5 million to build with hand-painted ceilings by the artist Thomas Bassetti, which took 8 years to finish. But Diddy's team insisted that cost wasn't a factor and said to include the price of double-sided locks on the venue. Why would you need double-sided locks on a thing? Diddy even bought in his own smoke detectors. They stated this policy mandated the use of smoke detectors in all areas of the homes and guest houses, which I replied, we have. They said we prefer brand new ones and would have them shipped to me. They'd install them upon the arrival. They said the detectors will be temporarily attached and removed after the event. I agreed. Y'all, are y'all thinking what I'm thinking? These mandatory, now, why would they want new smoke detectors? I know what you're thinking. Vlad, the Impeller, the vampire interview. You guys are obviously roasting people. No, maybe. Diddy, you don't know. Why do I think it happened? Y'all, remember all those lawsuits that came out from Airbnb when hosts were putting in what looked like smoke detectors, but they were actually cameras and guests were being filmed without their permission? What if Diddy insisted on their smoke detectors because their smoke detectors were actually remote recording things that videotaped everything from every single angle? Think about it. You caught in 4K, right? You caught in 4K. You're caught in 4K. And you look up and while you're praying to God to rescue you, right? And you see smoke detectors all over a room. Why would you think that they are cameras that you can actually zoom in, do whatever? That's why I think they wanted to replace the why they wanted to replace the camera, the smoke detectors. Literally, that's what I think what was going on. Anyway, look at this right here. Look at this. The party was packed with famous rappers with guests occupying every space the mansion had to offer, forcing those with entourages to squeeze through. Who's this entourage? Let's see if we can recognize some faces. Who's these faces? Who is he? Okay, I can't recognize the faces, but there's a lot of them. Let's get back into this. Ooh, look at this. Meek Mills and Diddy attending the Memorial Day weekend grand finale hosted by Meek Mills, Tiana Teller, and YG at Club Priv. I guess this is in Miami. Weeks after Diddy threw him a birthday party bash. They said on a gold couch as a man plays a trumpet in front of a Meek Mill inspired 24K over the air DJ Monster headphone brand photo wall. Okay, who's that? Now, listen to the Daily Mail being shady. Speculation around Meek Mill's and Diddy's relationship surfaced after producer Rodney Jones stated in a lawsuit that a Philadelphia rapper who dated Nicki Minaj was allegedly in a sexual relationship with the disgraced rapper. Okay, so the party ended around 3 a.m. and then there was a rampant rug use, Coca-Cola use, with broken bottles and condom wrappers left all over the property. The bedrooms were left in disarray. The property manager estimated he collected around half an ounce of coca from around the palace. He said, I thought it was powdered sugar everywhere. Although the relationship between Diddy and Meek Mills appeared close in the footage, the Philadelphia-born rapper has taken steps to separate himself from Diddy, telling one fan on the street, no Diddy gang. The nature of the relationship began to be questioned when Rodney Jones filed a $30 million lawsuit against Diddy. Jones stated that the Philadelphia rapper who dated blah, 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 blah. Listen, they literally quoted Welp saying, I knew something was up when Diddy was calling Meek Mill daddy. They played. He said, you deserve it, daddy. Anyway, right? Uh, they said, hey, what's up, King son? Man, you doing it. You doing it. You deserve it, daddy. You putting in that work. I'm proud of you. I love you. Meek responds to him. I appreciate it. I love you too. Woo! Listen what the Daily Mail said. They said in response to speculation, Meek Mills took to X to dispute these claims. He said every black blog site. You know what? Meek Mills is so anti-black and so stupid. He makes me sick. It wasn't. The funny thing is, I'm gonna get into that because that's a black blog site. No, I did not enhance anything or circulate it. But first of all, why are you saying every black blog site? On top of that, Meek, if you went to TikTok, it was the white TikTokers that actually made that ish spot. The fact that he always got so much smoke for black people, black bloggers, black, but you don't got nothing to say to your daddy. You don't got nothing to say to the bunny hoppers, and you don't got nothing to say to the white bloggers and TikTokers that actually blew that ish up. I'm just saying. But let's listen to what Mr. Anti-Black had to say, right? He said, every black blog site enhanced that post to make me seem gay. I changed laws for our people. I donate millions. They're designed to destroy the image of black leaders. It can't work on me, though. You got to really murk me. I will still get bigger after death. This God, not me. Meek. What? You really think God's involved? Okay. Anyway, that's what it is. They said Diddy is currently in federal prison, and civil cases against him include that he rugged and raped a 13-year-old. Y'all, what y'all think about this? I think this is wild. Potato Gun Comfort, what's up? You said keep cooking, Tisa. Also, Sarah, thank you so much, Potato Gun. And also, Sarah said everyone liked the video. It's fun and free. Thank y'all. So, what y'all think about this? Y'all buying this? I honestly do believe that this was released because Diddy is yanking Meek Mill's chain, saying, baby, I can take you down to, what did he say? Send the cops and the DA, the feds to come get me. If your cats think I'm going alone, you come on with me. I'm being dead serious. Oddly enough, 50 Cent wrote that. And they said Jay-Z might have helped. I run this city, send the cops, the DA, the feds to come get me. And they did. But at the end of the day, yeah. Listen, at the end of the day, Meek is probably testifying, right? He anti-black, so I'm sure he's willing to put a black man in jail. I see that like all these black celebrities talking about black this, black that. Y'all only care about the black millionaires and billionaires. Y'all don't care about the black bodies that were being exploited at these Diddy's parties. But quiet on the street, if this video can be believed, Meek was one of those black bodies being exploited. But hey, what do I know? He said it wasn't. So we're going to take him at his word. But because the fact that he turned no Diddy, I'm sure if there's proof of it, Diddy's team will be leaking it very, very shortly. I'm just saying. Anyway, y'all, listen, at the end of the day, listen, at the end of the day, and let me just say this for anybody, you guys, I don't care if Meek loves men. I don't care if Diddy loves men. To me, being gay, homosexual, I don't care. Live your life. Like, whatever, right? Who cares? We got bigger things to worry about. Live your life. Much respect. That's not my issue. So I don't like when people are trying to turn it like, oh, that's not a drag to me. That's like saying you caught Diddy in a car with a woman or a man. It's the same difference. Okay. The issue is whether any of it was consensual and whether any of Diddy's alleged lovers, male or female, partaked in helping other people be taken advantage of. That's the part of it. The criminal part. The criminal part is the part we need to go. Again, if somebody's rolling around with Diddy for that long, are you a victim? Did you participate? Inquiring minds need to know. And I am, if anything, an inquiring mind. Exactly. Consent is important. Laying with a man or woman, who cares? Who cares? And listen, don't come in my comments. I don't care. Much love and respect to. Love is love. Love whoever you want, whatever race, religion, creed, type. Like, I don't care. The issue is consensual. There needs to be checks and balances in society. And that is what Diddy is arrested for. And Meek better hope that there's nothing tying him to any non-consensual stuff. Then again, maybe Meek's a victim too. I don't know. Hasn't he been around just as long as Cassie? I'm being serious. Anyway, right? Let me know what you think in the comments. Let me just read off any other things. All right. So listen, I'm going to post a few other videos tonight, and tomorrow is going to be a heavy upload day, and I'll try to say, right? Somebody said, people say we don't care about Bussy Combs. Don't steal men's man too. Exactly. It's the consent part. It's the consent. Whether you are a man or a woman, it is a consent issue. You know, that's it. It's a consent. And if somebody cannot consent, then you deserve to be under the jail, because I don't care what y'all say. There's something mentally wrong. If you are willing to do it with someone that is literally unable to consent, what is next? What else are you capable of? The way that you don't look at somebody as human, you look at their body as something to use and abuse. That logic, in my opinion, leads to murder and a lot of other stuff. Where's the line? Where's the line? Oh, well, they do that, but only to what? 26-year-old men and women being grown. Okay, now it's 18-year-olds, now it's 16-year-olds, now it's 13-year-olds, now it's 9-year-olds. Oh, guess what? Now it's people that's not even alive. Now it's necrophilia. Like, at the end of the day, there's something wrong with the mind, and there's no checks or boundaries. Where does it start? Look at R. Kelly and his depravity. I always said it goes deeper. Depraved people don't have boundaries. And now R. Kelly's own daughter is saying that he did the unthinkable to her and ruined her life mentally. Okay. And all those people defending him because you didn't care when it was somebody else's daughter that he was doing all these things. But now his own daughter is saying, yeah, he didn't have any limits, you know? Exactly. Well, the consent is wrapped into the legal age, because don't forget that if you're under 18, you can't consent. Or if you're under 16, you can't consent. Even if you say yes, 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 it's just statutory. You can't. Anyway, y'all, listen. Let me know what y'all think in the comments. Subscribe, like, hit the comments. I'm going to post a few more videos tonight. I'll talk to y'all later. Bye.